Hey, Paula Williams with ABCI. And we were going to record actually, we were going to go live on Facebook and do this presentation earlier today, and it did not work very well. So my apologies for that. And instead, you're getting this recording. But I do hope that you'll ask questions and schedule a one-on-one with me if you think that this course might be a good fit for you, but you still have questions or misgivings. I really wanted to have the opportunity to sit down with you and find out, because I think this is the best thing that I can be doing to help with what's going on in the world, with what's going on with the aviation industry, helping people feel a little bit better about their future and their situation so that they can take control of their finances, take control of their careers, and things like that, so that they've got more options. More options is always better. And they're really, really good people in the industry, and they really, really deserve a break. And so any break that we can give them, we want to help with. All right, so we're talking about our Aviation Sales Pro course. And this is, I'm going to share my slides, which will hopefully work better now than it did on Facebook Live. All right, so aviation sales training, we have 3 courses that we offer. The first one is Aviation Sales Basics, and of course my company is ABCI. If you don't know us, some of you do know us because we've done marketing work for your company. Some of you don't know us at all, and that's fine too. But we help aviation professionals sell more of their products and services by supporting their companies and their families and the industry. And the more skills you have and the more stuff you're able to sell, the better you can do all of those things. So we've done websites, brochures, direct mailings, trade shows, all kinds of things with aviation companies. And that's been our traditional role. A lot of the aviation companies that we work with are looking for sales folks. And, we're trying to bring some people up to speed. Maybe they've got some folks on staff, engineers, other people that they'd like to have work in a sales role. But these are people that maybe don't have a lot of expertise or experience in sales. So we looked at a lot of the sales programs out there. We took a lot of the sales programs that are out there ourselves for our own purposes. And what we've done is we've distilled that into courses that we think take the best of what's out there and the most relevant to aviation, so that you're not wasting time in a course that was designed for MLM people or retail sales or real estate or insurance or whatever it is that those courses tend to be more focused on. So as far as I know, this is the only aviation sales skills course that is designed for working professionals who have had a career in aviation, and maybe you're getting into sales, or maybe have been doing aviation sales for a long time and just need to get up on the technology and tips and tricks and tools that we have today to be able to use their skills better. All right. So who is this class for? It's for pilots and techs and salespeople and anybody in the aviation industry, new or experienced, who are looking for independence, stability, professional growth that comes with being able to sell. So maybe you want to start your own company. When I started my own company, that was the one skill that I lacked. I knew how to do the accounting. I knew how to do the marketing. I knew how to do all kinds of things. I knew how to deliver things for customers. I knew how to do customer service. But first I had to get some customers, and it was the scariest thing ever. But it didn't need to be, because it is a skill that can be learned. And you can take a lot of the anxiety and uncertainty out of the process by following a process. Okay, so a lot of folks are fearful about the economy. They're fearful about layoffs or furloughs. Some of the folks that we've worked with in the past have been airline pilots that have failed a medical or were worried about doing that, and they wanted to have a good alternative. Or maybe now they've got kids and they want to spend more time around home, and their employer is not quite so keen on that idea. The more options you have, the better you're able to control those factors in your life. So, a lot of folks are getting real tired of having their schedule, their itinerary, their home life one pilot that I was talking with had been furloughed for a while and spending a lot of time with her kids, and then was looking at the prospect of going back to work. And she is, she loves flying, but she wants to look for some opportunities that maybe don't pay so well and maybe give her a more flexible schedule, because she started to really enjoy that home time and that time with her kids. And so, male, female, young and old, we've all got reasons that we want a little bit more control of our lives and our schedule these days. So we want to have more control of our future. And we haven't always gotten that from the airlines or from the aviation industry. So what we do is, everything that we do has three parts. A strategy piece, and it's one thing to know a strategy. You can get strategies all day long from reading books, going to classes, doing all these things. But without these other two sections, it's just that. It's just a piece of information in your head that never gets used. So what we have in this course is a tribe of people that works together to help each other. We do a lot of role playing. We do a lot of constructive feedback and things like that with the tribe, and we get to know each other really, really well. So that is super helpful. You're building your own tribe as well. We talk about networking. We talk about people that you should approach. We talk about how to approach those people, whether they are people that you want to sell to or people who influence the people that you want to sell to. And we also talk about habits. This is the most powerful thing in the world. If you do something, even if it only takes you 15 or 20 minutes a day, if you do it every single day, you're going to get a whole lot better at it. My son has this example of, if you give somebody a ukulele and they have 20 minutes of YouTube videos and books or whatever, and they spend 20 minutes a day of practicing the ukulele, they're going to get so much better at it. And same thing with sales. If you spend half an hour a day or an hour a day working on some of these sales skills and practicing some of these sales skills, you're going to be building your network, you're going to be perfecting those skills, and you're going to be making sales in the process. So we typically, our clients and students in the group are already, some of them, in the sales process when they join the class. Some of them are just starting that, but the habits really help them a lot. Here's the path. So we start with our 12-week basics course, and I'm going to tell you what's in that. Then we have another 12-week relationships course and another 12 weeks systems course. So it's almost, 9 months, a long time to really perfect your skills and become a great salesperson. And the best salespeople will tell you it's really hard to become a great salesperson in a year. But this gives you the best shot I've ever seen at making that happen in the industry. So let's start with step one. What's included in the basics course? Why is sales and aviation different? Once again, we're going to have a video. We're going to have some exercises where we talk about these things, and we're going to have our Facebook group where we do some discussions and things like that. And we meet once a week, live and in person, to work on some of these things as well. Vocabulary and concepts, especially if you're coming from outside the industry, this is really helpful. Some of you are going to find it super easy because you've been here forever. Personal branding in person, personal branding online, which is really important now that most of us are doing a lot of our work online. And also you're going to find that a lot of prospects are going to look you up before they agree to meet with you. And so it's good to look your best and to make sure that what people are seeing is what you want them to see. Nothing dishonest, but of course it doesn't hurt to put on a nice jacket and comb your hair before you meet with a client. Same thing with your online profiles. You want to make sure that you're showing the best side of yourself that you can. Top 10 list. We love this for the aviation industry because we have a limited number of clients or potential clients to begin with. So if you have a limited number of prospects, you can't just be broadcasting. You have to be a little bit more strategic and more careful. And most of us don't have unlimited budgets for advertising. So if we start with that top 10 list, we get to know 10 prospects really, really well. You may have heard the concept of the customer avatar. that's great. But if you get to know 10 potential customers really, really well, that gives you a much more diverse and inclusive and complete picture of who your potential customers are. So that is really helpful. Inbound sales calls and outbound sales calls, we do role playing with this. That's another one of those things that you can't just read a script because it sounds like you're reading a script. You have to learn to think on your feet, and the only way to learn is to do it. Consultations are a really key part of the aviation sales process because most of our products are complex and high value, and they're bigger than someone can make an impulse decision about. So, you do need to have some back and forth with the customer. You have to learn to ask the right questions and provide them with some impressive information in order to set yourself up as a partner rather than as simply a salesperson. Role playing, we've talked about objections. We do this a lot. Video conferencing, every single one of our calls is on Zoom, so you get a lot of practice with that. And by the end of 12 weeks, you'll be a Zoom professional. You'll be super polished and comfortable with Zoom. LinkedIn for prospecting. This has become a huge tool, especially this year since the COVID-19 scenario hit. LinkedIn has become one of our favorite tools. It's always been one of our favorite tools, but even more important for aviation marketing. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, also very important, especially if you have certain demographics. So like if you are selling for a flight school, you're going to find those tools really important. We'll talk about how and when and why to use each of those tools. Trade shows, not so much this year, but we certainly go over the process and how to make that work. And then your final is to give a sales presentation, either to a live customer that you've recorded, and you send that to us, and we go through it with a checklist and grade it, and send you the transcript and recording and notes. Or you can schedule that final sales presentation with one of us, and we will be your customer and go through that with you. Okay, so I'm going to share my iPad, and I'm going to show you what this looks like when we do this with a student and what they end up with, what they walk away with at the end of that 12 weeks. So I'm going to show you what you walk out of the course with after the 12 weeks, and show you what you get after you've done this. So the first thing we do is your personal branding. So this is online. This is you, and you looking all shiny and spiffy because you have an updated profile on LinkedIn, and people can find you using Google and other things like that. So that's going to be really, really helpful. So personal branding, and then before we even start all this, we do the personal branding. So then we do our top 10 list. So you have a list of 10 prospects that would be a good fit for your product or service. And we use a lot of different tools to figure out who those people are. And we want to drill down to who are the best companies to work with, who is the best person in the best position to be making the decision about your product and service. All of those are very important things coming up with that top 10. This is personal branding. After the top 10 list, we go to our 5-minute call. And this is something that we do over and over and over again until you get really comfortable with it. And this is the call where you basically find out if someone on your top 10 has an interest in talking about this topic. And if they do, you're closing on that call. The saying, always be closing. Sometimes you're not closing for the sale. You're just closing for the next step in your sales process. So at the end of that call, you're closing for a consultation. And that consultation is with you and the customer sitting down and having a conversation. And we use the 5 Ps here. So we use a pre-frame, pain, possibility, path, and pitch. So it's a very structured situation for that call and for the consultation. And you'll find that when there is a structure, it gives you actually more freedom. You get really good at the structure. You know exactly where you are. You know exactly what you're doing. You're not looking at the clock. You're not focusing on what you're going to say. But what you're doing is you are focusing on the customer and his needs. And they can tell that, they can smell that, which makes that really, really powerful. So this is your consultation. At the end of the consultation, of course, you're going to have your pitch. And this is supposed to be a baseball, but anyway. And that pitch is going to be, here is why we think our product is the best solution for you, given what we've talked about and everything that we've been through. So that pitch is going to be a whole lot more compelling at the end of that consultation than it would have been at the end of that phone call. And for most aviation products, that's going to serve you a whole lot better. At the end of the pitch, you're going to get one of three possible answers. You're going to get a yes, which is what we want. You're going to get a possible no, or you're going to get a not yet. And this could happen anywhere along this entire process, right? You could get a yes, no, or a not yet during the sales call. But we teach you how to handle that. If it's a no, then maybe, okay, well, this maybe isn't for you, but maybe you know someone that this would be a good fit for. So, sometimes that can go into a referral or something along those lines. If it is a not yet, then it is okay, do we need to loop somebody else into this conversation? Do we need to wait for the end of the year budget to come out? Do we need to wait for some kind of a tax situation to be resolved? What is the reason for the not yet? And then you can put them into a holding pattern. So all of this, and just like at the airport, if all of the gates are full, or all of the runways are full, they'll send you to a holding pattern where you wait until it's time to try again for your to come in for a landing. And we talk about how to put a prospect in a holding pattern and how to make them stay in that holding pattern and not fly off with your competitor in the process. So that's what you walk away at the end of the 12 weeks. You will have role played the heck out of the sales call, the consultation, the pitch, the objections, all of these things, and you'll be super comfortable and confident with all of these tasks. All right, so let's get back to my slides. So each of these elements is something that we spend a lot of time on in these 12 weeks. And I know a lot of people have issues with one or more of these problems. And so some parts of this are going to be easy for you. Some parts of it are going to be hard. Totally fine. We get it. We'll spend as much time as we need to make you comfortable and to make you successful. All right, so next, step 2, relationships, and you can see what's included there. The culture, customer, building rapport, what not to say. We go a little bit deeper into those building networks, into those networking opportunities, other crazy things that happen, public speaking, things like that. We get into a lot more detail about talking about costs and budgets, which often becomes the issue, especially later in the sales process, when you get down to the brass tacks of how to negotiate those things, managing attitudes. There become some points at which people are going to be unhappy with what you're proposing, or you're going to be unhappy with what they're proposing. And, being able to manage those attitudes is really important. And we carry on from there. All right. And then step 3 is systems. And this is where we talk about, and this is great for people who manage a sales team. So managing those CRMs and spreadsheets and reports, what are the numbers that you really do need to keep track of, and which ones are not quite so important, but the CRM systems seem to think they are. How do you manage that process? How do you know how many calls your team needs to be making in order to make your revenue numbers? Those kinds of things are what we talk about in the systems section. So, and then after that, of course, we have our ongoing networking group that you can belong to if you choose. All right. So we've got some testimonials from folks that have been in our programs. We're just finishing up our first course where we've gone through this entire program in its entirety, and we had some people that started in July, finishing in October, and we're going to be talking to them as well and talking about what went well with this course, what we're going to change for next time, and so on. But we're really, really thrilled with all the folks that we've worked with and are really enjoying all of this. So why are we the people to be teaching this? I'll tell you, totally honestly, sales is not my first thing. And, in fact, I almost killed my company when I started our ABCI, our marketing company, because I refused to do sales. I tried hiring salespeople, I tried farming it out, I tried automating it, I tried everything to avoid doing sales. So it seems kind of ironic that now I'm teaching a sales course, but the good thing about that is I have a lot of empathy for people who have anxiety about sales. And, if I can do it, anybody can. And I don't mean that facetiously, I mean that for real. John's an MBA and MAED. He buys a lot of aviation products and services and things like that. So he's a perfect skeptical customer when we do some of those role plays and things like that. So that's who we are. We'd love to have you in class, and we'd love to help you develop your career and see where you can go and get some more options into your life and more revenue and everything else and all that comes with it. So if you'd like to join us and you still have questions, feel free to schedule a one-on-one with me, and we'd love to have you. Our next class is starting October 5th. The course after that is going to be starting in January. So if we can get you in on the 5th in October, then you're going to be starting 2021 with the basics down and with a really good system for starting to make those sales in 2021. So I hope you'll join us, and we'll talk to you soon.